Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It is me once again, screaming into the void. You might be hearing one of the final videos, at least from this place. I'm not moving essentially like today or tomorrow, but Saturday is in fact the day that I will be up out of here. I kind of want to say something because, life is really just hard for some people. You just really get the short end of the stick, It's not necessarily like something insanely bad is happening per se, because I am moving after all, but like the people who we were rooming with are moving way faster than they admit it, Like they essentially packed everything and whatnot already. And I don't even think they're there anymore. They still haven't like fully moved because they are like kind of, giving us time and whatnot. But I'm like, life really just gives you the short end of the stick sometimes, I know I've got a place and whatnot, but I am a little bit concerned with them. Some people would probably say, yeah, you should just like say F it and make sure that you're good. And to an extent, yes, I don't deny that that is what I'm doing. But that doesn't mean I want to see my folks out on the street, I know a lot of people might look at that and go, yeah, you really shouldn't care, but the fact of the matter is, especially like in the Blizzax community, once you hit a certain age, a lot of these cunts just throw you out because they don't really care about kids in the sense where, they actually care about their family. They have kids in numerous amounts so that they can collect government aid. That's really what it is. Now, my folks weren't like that, She wasn't like that at all. And she never threw me out. And funnily enough, kid you not, I only ever met my grandfather one time. And he told my mother to throw me out the same day. So yeah, that's a freaking... That's literally the Nibba community in a nutshell. So, yeah, I basically got a place, but I am a little bit concerned with them. But obviously there's only so much I can do. I've always said, at worst, they can probably just try and go back to Miami, considering that they'll know more people and stuff like that, even though it's more expensive. But that's honestly what I'd suggest. But I kind of want to talk about this because somebody mentioned something at work, and I was wondering what happened to this guy. There was an older man, and I hadn't seen him, and at first I just thought, he quit. But my manager was talking to someone else, and he said, oh no, the guy, he offed himself. And I'm not going to pretend like I knew what was going on, because it's not like I knew him, but it's like, life really just gives some people such a short end of the stick and just a bag of rocks to work with, while it gives some people gold. And the world tries to tell you that you should just be grateful for what you have and you should just make it work. And it's like, a lot of the stuff that people really think are I want to say privileges and rights and stuff like that, it's just RNG. If you were fortunate enough to get a decent family and they did what they were supposed to, great. But when you're one of these people that are looking down on others, I've always said it like this, okay? I know I talk about this a lot because I don't want kids, but if I did, even if I had an inheritance, I'd make him work a bit. I'd show him what he has versus what he would have to do if he didn't have this. And I'd still make him work for a season, before I gave him access to his inheritance. The reason for that is, again, because way too many people get this in their heads that all right, because things work for me, everyone else who doesn't have things going their way just isn't trying hard enough. They just need to work harder and stuff like that. But you never know. And when I was told that guy offed himself, I'm like, what happened in his what was going on in his life, dude? You'll never know, because all we do is tell each other I'm doing fine and I'm doing okay, but you're not allowed to. And my heart does go out to him, because it's like another man lost, dude. Because we're not allowed to express ourselves. We're not allowed to and even if we try, no one really cares, No one really cares. And that's the sad part. We have entire systems designed to tell chicks that no matter what, The system's the problem, you know. They're never the problem. But then when it comes down to telling men, like even if they did seek therapy and stuff like that, well, you're the problem. There's nothing wrong with the system. And I've always said, you know, that's pretty freaking funny considering the fact that at the end of the day, let's just really look at the world for what it is, folks. It's an entire world based on usury. Why do you think, for example, that we are attacking the Middle East? Is it because like we actually give a rat's arse about people in the Middle East and the suffering and stuff like that? No, it's about money. Whether it's us giving money to the good old Israel or us bombing these freaking nations because we want their oil. Yeah, it's about money. This is a world of usury, and they try and tell you that there are more reasons than that, but that's all it really boils down to. All these nations, all these countries vying for power, don't give a rat's arse about improving your life as a civilian, but they want you to be absolutely loyal to them. You're a traitor to your country if you say something negative. Well, is my country looking out for me? You know, like, I don't think that there's a single country on this earth that actually looks out for its citizens. And if it did, it's probably not long for this world. Especially if they say something saying, hey, listen, we're doing pretty well. At least we're not like good old the West, and then the West, they hear that and they want to freaking do something about it. They'll uphold power and stuff like that, yeah. That's how they do it. They overthrow these governments. That happens very often, especially in this country. That's why I'm saying, you know, like, I don't understand how anyone could actually, like, look at this kind of world and actually think that we have some sort of obligation to it. We have some sort of obligation to the society and stuff like that. We don't owe it anything. The same way that it will say that it owes us nothing, we don't owe it anything, you know? You're not even treated like a human being because you were born with balls and a dick. You're treated like a pack mule. And if war breaks out, you're expected to go put your arm, leg, head, all of it on the line. Face disfigurement if you do survive, and then get absolutely disregarded by the good old Veterans Association. You know? Because you have trouble adjusting back to life. And why do you have trouble? Because you were told to go out and kill someone's kids. Not because you wanted to, but it's your duty. But the same country has no duty to you. Think for a minute, man. All of the crap that you would think for a moment that, like, oh, the country does have a duty. Let's take, like, an extreme example, for example. There's wildfires and stuff like that. Do you know that these countries out here, even if that happens, they don't really compensate you? Remember what happened in Hawaii with the wildfires that just conveniently didn't, hit celebrities' properties over there, but all the other people? All that happened was the government just started giving people, like, what, $800 in Hawaii? That's nothing, by the way. $800. I know your house is gone. I know everything in that house, you know, like all of your property, maybe your records, maybe important information, important documents. I know it's gone, but here's $800. Be quiet. Be happy. And while this man is just handing you this money, essentially, metaphorically speaking, you know, they're already walling off the areas that had the flames to go ahead and take people's homes and properties and lands and just saying, yep, this is mine now. And ain't nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. That's why I'm like, you know, guys, again, please understand. If you have checked out and if you've managed to find a way, I think you did the right thing. Why should you be paying taxes, funding this system constantly? Every time you buy something, you're still going to pay taxes, kind of, but you know what I mean, obviously, like, you know, intentionally, like, income taxes and all this stuff. I mean, you get taxed when you get a paycheck. Every time I get a paycheck, you know, I'm getting freaking taxed, right? They go ahead and hit that real quick, but they're going to sit around here and try and tell you that, oh, you owe them. Really interesting. You know? Life can just be such a freaking bag of rocks a lot of times. Just tie it to your ankle, and you're trying to swim through it. You know? Trying to swim through it, and there's a bag of rocks tied to your ankles. And then some people who, again, you know, like, they got a life vest, they got some floaties, they're like, what are you talking about? This is perfect. And good on them, again. Their parents did what they had to do, then yeah. But a lot of us are struggling because, objectively speaking, our parents didn't hook us up, and they were really people that had no business having kids. That's why whenever I'm listening to this population decline and you're, oh, somebody help, F you. No. I'm sick of stupid people popping out more kids, effing their lives up. It's not just about your so-called right to reproduce. Are you mentally sane? Do you have some kind of record diddling people? Do you have some kind of record? Are you financially stable? How is it that somebody has to have a license to fish, to hunt, permits to plant a garden on their property? But anyone, whether you're freaking poor, whether you got some kind of genetic deficiency, whether you got some kind of STD, you can just pop out kids. Am I saying that people should just go get freaking castrated and stuff like that? I'm not saying that. But they definitely should not be the ones raising kids. They shouldn't. You gotta wonder about that stuff, man. How much suffering has been passed through the world because people just didn't care. They didn't care what they were giving their kids, and they didn't care the kind of legacy that they were leaving behind. They just said, nah, here you go. You gotta wonder, man. And as a result, so many of us just got the short end of the stick. So many of us have to work even harder. And I mean, even if somebody got a good end of the stick, you know, like, let's say, like, someone who's got a good bit of money, well, the wrong economic collapse, and that's gone. Remember during the Great Depression, a whole bunch of these people that were, you know, well off because back in the day, you know, one job was enough to, like, support everything. That money collapsed, and those people were skydiving without a parachute, if you catch my drift. Skyscraper skydiving. Wasn't very pretty. Yeah, man, it's really something. I was just thinking about that because, like I said, you know, like, just knowing that guy just offed himself, like, it's, like I said, it's not like we were close. I barely talked to him. He barely speaks English, for God's sakes. But that doesn't mean that I'm happy that the guy freaking offed himself. I'm telling you, man, you just never know, though. An elderly man just busting his balls trying to work, and who knows, man, maybe he just couldn't pay ends meet. Maybe he couldn't. Maybe he was going to be like me, you know, for a while before I, like, you know, had this room, like, and homeless and stuff, you know. I don't know, man. It's really effed up. But I don't really have much to talk about, but this is going to probably, like I said, be like probably the last video that I do here. If I do another video, it's probably going to be like moving and stuff like that, because I know I probably could do one like Friday, but technically speaking, I think I work in the night on Friday, so by the time I get off, it's going to be moving day. So, yeah. I'm just really ready to get up out of this neighborhood. I am concerned about my folks and what's going to happen. If worse comes to worse, I can always probably just save up and see if I can get them a room, you know. Because like I said, you know, like, even though a lot of people might think that that's stupid of me and I should only focus on myself, and I don't deny that. I don't think that that's necessarily, like, wrong. They could have chosen to throw me out, and they didn't, so I would at least want to make sure that they got a roof over their head, you know. I'm not going to say I'm going to be paying that monthly. I'm just saying I could at least maybe find them something, you know. But, yeah, folks, I hope you guys are doing well. Like, please don't assume that that's just me, like, talking out my hours at the end of the video, just as my outro as usual. I do hope you guys are doing well. If you're not, feel free to share in the comments, dude. You know, I care. If you think nobody cares, I freaking care. You know, I don't really want too many of us checking out. I know it's your right, you know. It is your right to do that if you feel like you just don't want to deal with this anymore, but there are people that care, and usually, if you feel like you're going to do it, you don't even bother talking to people, you know? You just do it. But a lot of people usually are looking for somebody to talk to, and hey man, if you just need to just do a check-in, I'm right here. So, I don't know if I should say hope you guys enjoyed on a topic like this, but I hope that you guys are doing well. And I thank you for listening to me, you know. I thank you guys for listening to me seriously, because you don't have to listen to my crazy arse, you know. Or as one comment put it, my balls haven't dropped yet. My prepubescent self, you know. All that good stuff. Because Lord forbid that, you know, someone just doesn't sound as, air quotes, hyper-masculine as anyone else. Trust me, I don't have any freaking soy in me, but I don't sit around and pretend like, yeah, my voice is the deepest thing ever. It's not. It is what it is. I don't really take that insult as anything. I have Dragonhide at this point. I don't really give a rat's arse what anyone thinks of me. I don't care what the world thinks of me, you know. Why should I? I think that's what more people really need to start doing. Why should you care what the world thinks of you? Like I've always said, you know. They wouldn't piss in your mouth with your tongue's on fire. Why care? So, yeah. Again, I hope you guys are doing well. If not, hey man, let me know what's up. I'm right here. God bless. I'll see you guys next time.